Welcome everyone. In our today's topic of our lecture is Doppler shift in the universe. So as you heard about the Doppler shift previously when you learn physics, okay, but now in this we have discussing the Doppler shift in the Einstein universe. So firstly we recall what is the meaning of the concept of a Doppler shift. You know that when the train is we are on the platform as an observer and we are moving, and the train is coming from the far away and he is blowing its horn. So what you heard, the sound of the horn will be minimum when it is come from far away, but when it comes near to observer, the sound is increases, that is its frequency of the sound will be increases, its pitch will be increases, okay. And when it is pass away from the observer, again the sound will be decreases, that is its frequency or the pitch of that sound will be decreases. So what we call this concept as the observer is related to the train, because train is moving, it is passing, it comes near to the observer, that is approaches towards the observer and leave it from the observer, that is passes from the observer. Okay, so there is a Doppler shift, that is change in a frequency. So the Doppler shift is concerned about the concept of the shift in a frequency or change in a frequency of a wave in relation to an observer who is moving related to the wave source, that is from where it is from where the wave is coming, we called it as a source, and the observer that is observing or hearing or receiving that signals will be related to that source. Then there is a change in a frequency. So same thing we are discussing about the Doppler shift in the universe. So we have the source as a light source, and it is moving, it is at a distance r equals to r, and the observer will be at a distance r equals to 0. Okay, so the source of light is, this is our source of light, which is at a distance r equals to r, and the light signal will be passes from this source light, and it is received by the observer, which is at a r equals to 0. Okay, so there is a difference, that is when the waves are coming, its wavelength will be changes, or we can say the frequency will be changes. Okay, so there is a Doppler shift in the waves of the light signal passing from the source of light. Okay, and this will be used to calculate, to know how far the star is and whether it is expanding, that is our universe is expanding or contracting, depending on the light signals or light emitted by the source, and it will be received by an observer. So the Doppler shift in the universe will be helpful to find the galaxies or a star which are near to us, which are far from us, how much the distance there will be. Okay, so there it will be useful. So in this lecture we are going to see the Doppler shift in the Einstein universe. Okay, so for this we consider a source of light. The source of light is nothing but our star, which is far away from us, or they are receding from us. Okay, so we consider a source of light at a distance r equal to r, and an observer at r equals to 0. That is, this is observer, this is source of light, which is at a distance r equals to small r, and observer is at r equals to 0. Both are taken as permanently at a rest, because if we take them initially at a rest, then as in the previous we have discussed the motion of a test particle, where if the particle is at a rest, then it is permanently at a rest. So we are taking this Doppler, that is this distance, that is the source and light, both are at a rest. Okay, firstly we take at a rest, and therefore they are taken as permanently at a rest. With respect to what? With respect to spatial coordinate. Okay, we are taking with respect to the spatial coordinates. Now, as we have seen this in a motion of a test particle, so what we give, this implies that hence r is remains constant in time. Okay, so what this implies, that r remains constant in time. Constant means it does not depend on a time, because it is at a rest, so their distance will not be changed, and therefore r, that is the radius or the distance from the observer and source, it remains constant, which is irrespective of the. So for a radial motion of a ray of light in the Einstein universe, we take ds equals to 0, d theta equals to d phi equals to 0. That is, as it is a radial motion, so the velocity, that is, we take theta dot and phi dot is equals to 0. Okay, and theta dot is nothing but d theta by ds. So we are taking ds equals to 0, d theta equals to 0, because of the radial velocity should be 0. Okay, so for radial motion, the condition will be that ds will be equals to 0, d theta and d phi will be equals to 0. We substitute this value in the line element of Einstein universe. So the line element of Einstein universe is ds square will be equal to minus of 1 minus r square upon capital R square, its inverse dr square minus r square dw square plus dt square. This is an equation number 1, where dw square equals to 1, that is equals to d theta square plus sine square theta d phi square. What this implies that, so substituting here the value of ds equals to 0, d theta and d phi equals to 0, what we get that 0 will be equals to minus 1 minus r square upon capital R square, its inverse dr square, minus this term will be 0 because it contains d theta and d phi, plus dt square. Okay, so we take this dr square to this side, and we get that this implies 1 minus r square upon capital R square, its inverse dr square will be equal to dt square. Okay, now what this will implies that from this we get, if we take the reciprocal of that is, we take this term, we take dr square by dt square, the reciprocal of that term, and that is, we take dt square in the denominator, and this term 1 minus r square upon capital R square, its inverse on the other side, we get 1 minus r square upon capital R square. Now if we take the square root of this, what this implies, taking square root, we get dr by dt will be equal to 1 minus r square upon capital R square, this is in under root, and here it is plus minus. Okay, so plus minus of under root of 1 minus r square upon capital R square. Now we choose here the minus sign. We take the minus sign here because our light is emitting from the source at a distance, which is at a distance r equals to r, and the signals we are receiving by an observer at O at a distance r equals to 0. So the r is decreasing, and the limit will be from r to 0, and this light waves, the first light wave that will be emitted from the source will be at a time t1, and it is received by an observer at time t2. Okay, so for solving this, we have to integrate this with a limit the time will be taken from t1 to t2, and the light emitted from source to observer will take the distance at r equals to r to r equals to 0. Okay, so we suppose that the ray of light leaves the source at time t1 and reaches the observer at time t2. Okay, so it is leaves the source at time t1 and reaches at a time t2. Therefore, above equation, that is this equation, will be written as integral t1 to t2 dt will be equals to minus of the integral r equals to r and r equals to 0. That is, this is our integration. At time t1 this light is at a distance r equals to r, and at time t2 it is at r equals to 0, and we take the negative sign because the distance is decreasing. Okay, so it is minus of this term under root of 1 minus r square upon capital R square, because dr upon this term will be there, so 1 upon this into dr. Okay, that is, we are separating the variable form of this equation and then we integrate it. Okay, so we are taking the r, that is r, the term containing r on one side and the term containing t on the other side, and we take the integration for solving this. Now therefore, if we integrate this, what we get is that the integral of dt will be t and the limit will be from t1 to t2. And what is the, we simplify this, so minus integral r to 0, and it is, if we take the cross multiplication, so it is r square. So we write capital R dr upon under root of r square minus r square. Now apply the formula here, that is under root of 1 upon under root of a square minus x square. Integral of this will be equals to sine inverse of x upon a. Okay, so using this formula we write the we solve this integration, that is equals to the integral. We firstly change here the negative sign, so it is 0 to r capital R dr upon under root of r square minus r square, and that will be equals to this r taking outside the integral, and the integral of this will be sine inverse of, what is this, x upon a. X is nothing but our variable small r, so r upon a is our capital R, so sine inverse of r upon capital R, and the limit will be from 0 to r. So we get here t2 minus t1, so that will be equals to t2 minus t1 will be equals to capital R sine inverse of, if we substitute here upper limit as a r, so we get the same term. If we substitute sine inverse of 0 is 0, so here r upon capital R minus 0, so we are writing r sine inverse of r upon capital R. Now this is the difference between t2 minus t1, that is that there is a time interval when the source will emit the first wave at time t1 and it is received by observer at time t2. The difference in the time will be t2 minus t1 dash. Now this is the first wave. Now if there is a second wave will be emitted after, immediately after this first wave, then what should be the time? We take the after the time t1 plus delta t1, that is after small time interval the second wave will be emitted and it is received by observer at time t2 plus delta t2. Okay, so what the difference between this t2 minus t1 and t2 plus delta t2 minus t1 plus delta t1 will be equals to, because this is nothing but our delta t2, what we can write, t2 plus delta t2 minus t1 plus delta t1 will be same as delta t2 minus delta t1 plus t2 minus t1. Okay, but t2 minus t1 is nothing but our capital R sine inverse of R upon capital R. Okay, but because we have the same thing, that is because R is independent of time. Okay, R is independent of time, therefore the time interval between the first wave emission and the second wave immediately after that will be the same. Okay, so what this implies, that the time interval between this and that is equals to, that is the time interval between this and T2 minus T1 will be same. So that is T2 minus T1. Why it is same? Because what is the time interval? Time interval is sine inverse of R upon capital R, and this is independent of time. So difference between, if we denote this as a T1 dash and this is as a T2 dash, so time interval between T2 dash minus T1 dash will be same as T2 minus T1. Okay, so substituting the value of T2 dash and T1 dash, we get that this T2 minus T1 get cancelled and we get delta T2 minus delta of T1 will be equals to 0. Okay, so in this way we have that because small r is independent of time, what this implies that delta of T2 minus delta of T1 will be equals to 0. And what this implies, delta of T2 will be equals to delta of T1. Okay, so what is delta of T2 and delta of T1? That is a small time interval between the emission of the two successive waves and the time interval between the we receive the same successive wave at the same time interval delta T2. Okay, so they are both same, and what this we say, time interval is same. This is because of the r, that is the radial coordinates, is independent of the time, and we are taking both of them at a rest permanently. Okay, and therefore because of that this will be the case, that is the time interval. What is the meaning we are writing here? The time interval between the reception of two successive waves is equal to the time interval between their emission waves. Okay, or emitted waves. So for more we can say that, as also we have considered that the observer is also at a rest with respect to the spatial coordinate. So for an observer at a rest with respect to spatial coordinate, that is dr equals to d theta equals to d phi equals to 0, the line element in equation 1 becomes ds square will be equals to, that is if we substitute for an observer at a rest, we substitute with respect to the spatial coordinate. So we have dr, d theta and d phi equals to 0, and we substitute this value in the line element which is in equation 1, we get that ds square will be equals to dt square. What this implies, ds will be equals to dt. So here the coordinate time t, what is here, ds and dt represent, t represent the coordinate time and ds is a proper time. Proper time means, proper time is nothing but our the time for for an observer by its own, means it is defined by its own time. Okay, so this is called as a proper time, that is the time taken by the observer by its own is called as a proper time. So the coordinate time, what we have gathered that the coordinate time and the proper time will be same. The coordinate time t is the proper time S. Then if we substitute this in equation 2, that is, what is our equation 2? This is our equation number 2. Okay, that is where the interval will be same. So if we substitute here that the time interval, that is coordinate time, and the proper time will be same, then our equation 2 implies that, what this implies, the proper time interval of reception of the two waves at r equals to 0 is the proper time interval of emitted wave at r equals to r. That is, as we have say here, for the time coordinate, the emission of the time interval between the emission of the waves and the reception of the two waves both are equal. So same can be true about the proper time. Okay, so what we have seen here, that what is the meaning of here, that the time is not changing, that is, the reception of the two successive waves and the emission of two successive waves does not changes the time interval. So if it is not changing the time interval, so there is no difference between its wavelength. Okay, so that is, their wavelength is not changing, the frequency is not changing. So what this implies, we conclude that there is no Doppler shift, or hence no rate shift in the Einstein universe. Okay, because as there is no shift in there is no change in the frequency, so this is where the Doppler shift. If there is a change, we say that they had a Doppler shift. But in the Einstein universe, we get there is no change in the time interval. It means that there is no change in the wavelength or a frequency of the waves, and therefore what we can say, there is no Doppler shift in the universe. So we write this as, what this implies, that there is no change in the wavelength of the light, and therefore there is no Doppler shift or no rate shift occurred in the Einstein universe. Okay, so we here conclude our topic, that there is no Doppler shift in the Einstein universe. Further, we see the study of de Sitter universe, and in the properties of the de Sitter universe, we have seen that there is a Doppler shift in a de Sitter universe. Okay, so thank you everyone. We will meet in the next lecture.